You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. This app's just going to be it's going to be a personal one. It's going to be a little story that I'm going to share about a recent journey that I have been through. And the reason why I decided to do this episode today, it's really got nothing to do with business. And also I realized that me as a human and all of my experiences that I go through is all related to business. So this app is going to be sharing my breast augmentation journey. I recently got my boobs done about 3 months ago now. And I feel like I wanted to share this experience because I went through a lot. I went through so much after getting my boobs done, and I felt like no one had really talked about it. No one really talked about the experience behind it, or maybe I just essentially didn't really look it up. But I feel like even people that I have a lot of friends who have got a breast augmentation or who have had breast surgery didn't really share about what to expect. So I wanted to create this episode to kind of share my personal experience and my personal journey around the surgery, post-surgery, why I even got them done, like what it means to me, and just to, I guess, give you a little experience of maybe you've been thinking about getting your boobs done, maybe you've just been curious, and I just wanted to share my journey so you can have a little bit insight of what to expect, because I feel like either it's I just move through the world through oblivion sometimes, where I'm like, I'm gonna be fine, and then when shit happens, I'm like, oh wow, that was a little bit more intense than I anticipated. So it's either that, or I just genuinely feel like no one really talks about this. So you know the vibe, all spice, no sugar. Let's get into this episode. So 3 months ago, I had a breast augmentation, and this is something that I had been wanting for years. I literally had a and not an interview, a consult. That's the word. Consult. I had a consult with a surgeon when I was 18. And at the time, I just wanted to get my boobs done, because I feel as if, not that I had ever been like really self-conscious of my body, but I felt like I knew I would feel a lot more confident within myself with them done. So it's something I've been wanting to get done since I was 18. And at the time, I had the money there. And back then, that was 8 years ago now. Back then, getting your boobs done was like $6,000. And I had that sitting in my savings. And I just paid $11,000 for mine. And it's interesting because at the time, I was in a relationship where I became the provider in the relationship, and my partner said to me, you can't get your boobs done because you are now the provider. So that happened, and I lost all of my money by providing in the relationship. And that's all perfect, because obviously it led me on the journey of doing a lot of inner work to even connect back into myself. And even despite all of the internal work and the shifting in my level of self-confidence, my self-belief, and the person that I am today, this was still a part of my journey that I knew I wanted. And whether I've been in the bodybuilding industry as well, so I've always been around bodies, and I feel as if it's still always been something that I wanted to have done. So anyway, this time last year, I was in Egypt. How crazy. And I literally said to the girls who I was traveling Egypt with, I said to him, in August, which I was traveling in Egypt in July, so it was the following month, I was like, I'm going to hit my first 100K sales month. And when I hit my first 100K sales month, I will go and get my boobs done. And I feel very proud because it's now been officially 1 year, and I did do the 100K sales month, but I didn't get my boobs done until a few months later. I then did another 100K sales month. And then it was a few months after that I eventually bit the bullet, and it's like something clicked. And even though a massive part of me had wanted them for so long, for some reason, I just like kept chickening out, or I couldn't justify the price, or all of these fucking intrusive thoughts were coming into my brain. And I was just like, no, this is something that I wanted to do for ages. And I just decided to book my surgery. So I did. And then within a few weeks later, I had my boobs done. And something that I wanted to, I guess, also express is the journey that I went on with my partner as well. So that was something that I feel like maybe a relevant experience to yourself if you're listening is also the perception of others. So for me, like I said, this is something that I wanted to have done for a number of years, and I knew within myself that I was doing it purely for me, purely for myself, the love that I have for myself, and just wanting to feel more feminine in my body, wanting to feel more confident in my own skin. And I fucking can tell you, like, it has most definitely made me feel so much more happier in my body, like confident. For me, like I never really felt comfortable in a bikini. I just felt like they never really sat right. And now, girl, do they sit right? Like they sit up right. And I fucking love it. And I had to navigate through, some questions that I was getting from my partner at the time, of like them not necessarily liking the look, and also them questioning whether, like, who I would be with them, if I would be a different person, if I would be seeking attention. And these were some real conversations that I had to have with my partner at the time around, this has got nothing to do with them, and it's got nothing to do with like how I want to portray myself. This is everything to do with myself and how I feel connected to my body. And a big conversation was around of, if I were to get them, even though I was getting them, my partner at the time just had to come to the terms and be accepting of that, which was a really interesting experience for me to navigate again, because the last time that I was about to get them done, my partner had been like, you can't get them done because you need to provide. And now I was then faced with the feeling and journey of, I don't know if I will like them, and will you be a different person with them? And so it's such an interesting experience to navigate through the projections and the perceptions of others when you choose to do something with your body. And I feel, as long as you know within your soul that this is something that you want to do for you, then that's all that you need to make that decision. And at the end of the day, I was able to then navigate the level of self-acceptance for myself to making the decision wholeheartedly, despite what other people thought. And I'm very grateful that my partner did come round. Eventually, we just had to, have a conversation about a few things, and ultimately came down to just ensuring that it was coming from a place of love for oneself, and not of the other, like not of other people. And I'm very grateful that we had that conversation, because my partner was probably, I don't think I would have gotten through. I mean, I know I would have gotten through because would have had no other choice but to get through post-surgery. But my partner was so, like, she was there for me when I needed her most. And so I'm so incredibly grateful for her in that time, because holy shit, I don't think anyone realizes how intense post breast aug is. So I'm just going to take you through it. So I went from about a B cup to, I think I'm a D, maybe a double D, don't really know. But my stats are, I have a 400cc implant that's round, dual plane. And what essentially that means is I have, my breast implant is in between the two muscles. So with that, they obviously have to like cut beneath the breast tissue and put the implant in between the two chest muscles. And that requires, when you think about having to fucking pull apart two muscles to put an implant in, the recovery for that is pretty intense. So afterwards, I got out of surgery. I was in surgery for I think it was a whole hour maybe. I actually can't really remember. But basically, as soon as I got out of surgery, I was home within half an hour or 45 minutes, I think. Basically, they called my partner and they're like, she's ready. And so they came and picked me up. And then next thing you know, I'm at home, and definitely was rough. So I struggled a lot I couldn't get in and out of bed at all. I literally had to have my partner pick me up and lie me down. She had to take me to the toilet and pull down my pants because I couldn't even bend over or out, like stretch my arms out, because I just have my arms in like a little cradle position holding my boobs. Like, it was so incredibly painful. And I think the first day was the worst because I had so much nausea post anesthetic. So I was like half refusing to take pain relief because I felt so sick, but then I was in so much pain that I needed to. And it was just a whole kettle of just pain, sickness, discomfort. You know, a lot of people said, oh, it just feels like you've had a really bad chest workout, or that you've just got like, you know, something pressing down on your chest. I did not experience that at all. It was rough. Like, I couldn't even get myself out of bed. Like, I couldn't even like pull myself up or down or outreach my hands. And no one prepared me for that shit. So this is I don't want to scare you guys, okay? But I just want you to know what the fuck you're in for, okay? Because the interesting thing is, it is so intense that it was so intense that there's part of me that doesn't really remember it. And whether that's because I was on a lot of, you know, pain relief and analgesia at the time. So my memory is a little bit how you're going, because the only way to get through it was through a fuck ton of opioids. There was a moment when I saw my breasts for the first time. Like, obviously when you come out of surgery, they put a bra on you, so a compression bra, and you have to wear that compression bra like all day, every day for the first 6 weeks. And so I didn't really see them. And this is such a similar experience that I feel like myself and some of my other girlfriends who have had their boobs done experience as well, is like just like this unknowing of like, I can't look. I really want to look, but also you don't want to look, because I remember the first time I looked at my boobs, I was like almost having a fucking panic attack, because I was like, what the fuck have I just done? There was probably a moment the first 3 days where I would just look in the mirror and just be like, oh my God, because they were huge. I was like, oh my God, what are these? They're humongous. And I genuinely thought that I had fucked myself. I was like, oh my God, I've been botched. And I just want to say this because this is part of the journey. And I promise you, after the first few days, the swelling will go down and it'll look so much better. And then you'll love it. You will love it. Like, I just seriously I love them so much. They make me feel so good about myself. I just feel so empowered. And I just think, like, I think back to how I saw myself in the first few days, and I was so scared that I'd really stuffed it up. And I promise you, if you're there right now, that feeling and that experience will go. You'll get out of that place. The swelling will go down. They'll start to kind of sit how they're supposed to, and it'll be amazing, and you'll love yourself for it. I definitely didn't expect the level of just like how everything hurt. So as I was starting to get a little bit more, mobile, I was starting to move my hands. I could get my hands up to like shoulder height. I couldn't lift my hands above my head for probably longer than probably about a week to 2 weeks. I couldn't lift my hands above my head. And every time I would outstretch my hand, I felt like this is like a tight clenching feeling in my breast, and that really scared me for a while. So I also just want to reassure you that that's a normal experience as well for going post-surgery. Like, you think about, like, they literally cut your muscle and any other tissue that's there, and that part of you has to heal. I actually went through a really rough period where my left boob had nerve pain, and I went through a lot of like nerve pain. So every time that I would get up or lie down or move my arm in a certain way, I would have this intense burning, constricting, tingling pain that would come across my entire breast. And that was probably the most painful experience out of all of the types of pains that I experienced post surgery. And I was so scared that something had gone wrong, and my doctor just was like, no, girl. Well, he didn't say no, girl, but he was just like, no, this is normal. You could just have nerve damage. And it was also my more dominant side. And it's very normal to have a lot of pain on your more dominant side. So I just had to give myself some reassurance. And post surgery, they say to you, don't expect each breast to heal at the same time. Treat them as completely different surgeries. And honestly, that is so true, because both breasts have been completely different in my healing journey. And it's kind of scary because one dropped before the other, and then my like nipples were like pointing in different directions, and I was like, wow, I feel so weird right now. But it's all good now. So it's just so interesting, the processes and the journeys that you go through after having such a major plastic surgery. And also, it taught me so much about trust and surrender, and just being like trusting the process, surrendering to the journey, and knowing that it's all going to work out. And even though this is stuff that like trusting and surrendering is like a massive part of my key teachings with how I work with my clients, but when it's happening to me in a completely different, like, I guess, part of my life, it would just continue to anchor me into like, okay, I seriously need to trust and surrender into this. So that was like most part of the journey afterwards, was just getting to learn how I could move my body again. And even like sleeping, I can't sleep on my belly anymore, which is like quite sad. And also I had to sleep, oh my God, sleeping, I can't believe I didn't mention this earlier. I had to sleep in like a pillow fort for like a week, sleeping upright. I'm lucky that I'm a pro fucking sleeper. I can sleep anywhere, anytime, any day, like for however long. Like my nursing background really prepared me for that. But that was hard, having to sleep propped up in a pillow fort, like sleeping pretty much upright for about a week straight. That was so intense. And even like getting up to go to the toilet in the middle of the night, I had to wake my partner at the time up to get me out of bed because I couldn't do that. So there's just so many little things that you don't realize that you take for granted every single day, that when you can't do it, it really, like, I struggled with that mentally and emotionally. So I'm so grateful that I had a support team and support person with me. So if you're getting your breasts done and you're kind of don't have any support, I would highly recommend having someone there to support you, because it's such an emotional journey to go through, a physical journey as well. Like the changes in what you can and can't do is really intense. And also just like the emotional journey of seeing your body change and what you go through. For me, because I am someone who, trains every day or goes for a run or is very fit and active, not being able to do any of that really was difficult for me. And I found it really challenging to even like connect back with my body, because also I couldn't go to the toilet for like a fucking week because I was so clogged up with drugs that my body was like shut down. So I also was extremely bloated. So it was such a weird experience, because I was like, I've just got these big fucking bonkers on my chest, and now my belly is also just like rock solid. I was like, it's such an uncomfortable experience. And also we're here now. So now I get to share my story and prepare you and just be like, it's going to be rough for a few days, and also you're going to get through it, and it's going to be the most fucking amazing experience that you've ever done. And trust that if you're fully doing this for your level of self-love, you will. I've had people ask me, like, what are your thoughts about like breast augmentation illness, or I can't even remember exactly what it's called, but breast implant illness. And I honestly think that that's I'm a believer in linguistics and energetics, and because I believe that this is something that I'm in full acceptance of, I'm in full love, and a decision that I made for my level of, for myself and for the love of myself, that like I don't believe that will happen to me, or I don't actually believe in it, because this is a decision I've made full-heartedly for myself. So whether that's just being naive or not, I just genuinely believe that when it comes to energetics and when you make decisions from the right place, then you will, like, the universe reflects that back to you and you'll be rewarded for that. So that is my perception around breast implant illness. And I know that for some people, it's a legitimate experience. And also for myself, I'm good. Like, I love my boobs so much, and I have felt so much more alive within my body since. So that's my personal experience. The other thing that happened to me that no one really prepared me for was like the gurgling and like squishy sensations. Like, people tell you about, oh, you might have altered sensations around like your nipples or below your breasts. And for me, my nipple sensation is the same. And it's numb underneath my breast where the incision is, but everything else is the same. But no one prepared me for the slush feeling. And I don't know, maybe this is just me, but for example, there'll be times where like if I don't have a bra on and I bend over, and it's like I can feel the implant moving, and it's like a squish or gurgling feeling in the actual tissue, and it's a very discomforting experience. So I also just want to normalize the fact that apparently that's a normal thing, and I didn't know any of this when going into surgery. So again, I just want to share this experience because I know that there's so many people out there that either think about it, consider it, and are scared of like repercussions or, you know, adverse reactions and all of these things. And I honestly, like, this is all of my experience. And while some of them may have been really shit, and, you know, my partner at the time was like, wow, that's completely turned me off having my boobs done, I would still get them done again. Even though it was pretty horrific post surgery, that lasts for like a week. And then the rest has been the most beautiful journey of being able to connect back with myself. So if you're thinking about it, girl, and you've something that you want to be doing, I'm an advocate, because if it's going to make you feel more love towards yourself, who gives a fuck if people think that, oh, it's plastic surgery? Whatever. If you're going to feel more comfortable in your own skin, think of what being comfortable in your own skin will do for you. Like, what would that do for you physically? What would being more confident within yourself do for you emotionally? What would having more self-love do for you financially? What would it feel like to be more connected to your body? Like, what would that do for you spiritually and mentally? When you tap into all of those things, and if your life feels better, you feel more confident within yourself, you can see yourself taking more action and showing up and feeling like you're fulfilling like the person that you're here to be, then you have the answer that you need to. Don't listen to anyone. Don't listen to anyone else. Trust yourself, trust your gut. And if you know that this is something that you've wanted to do for you, then that's all that you need to do. And also with the money side of things, girl, money comes and goes. It's energy. It'll come back to you. Why? Because you probably feel so much more worthy to receive more when you feel so much more love for yourself. It's a ripple effect, babe. So that's pretty much my breast augmentation journey. I feel like I'm starting to get back into the gym now. I've finally started to get my groove back, and I don't know if that's between, you know, I'm going like the breakup journey, you know, when you go through like the fit phase, like post breakup, you know, diet, and post breakup, you know, glow up. I'm definitely going through that phase right now. But also I'm finally getting back to the gym, and I'm starting to run again, which that was a bit of an odd experience to begin with, but now we're back into the flow of things. So it may be shit for a few weeks, and also it's going to be worth it on the other side. So this is my permission slip to you, girl. If you've been thinking about whether it might not even be a breast aug, it may be some other plastic surgery that you've been thinking about, or some other augmentation. This is a permission slip to be like, go get it, girl. You fucking deserve it. All right, my beautiful soul. Thank you for listening to my journey around my boobs, and I will be seeing you in the next episode. Bye.